Let me guess, you've watched at least 12 finance videos, bookmarked 3 investing apps, downloaded 2 budget spreadsheets, and somehow your bank account still looks like it's been through a minor war. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody tells you. Most people don't fail at investing because they're bad at picking stocks. They fail because they invest in the wrong order. That's like buying gym supplements before you even own running shoes. Looks productive, does absolutely nothing. And look, this isn't your fault. The internet is full of people screaming, "Invest now or you'll die poor," while casually skipping the steps that actually make investing work. So today, I'm going to walk you through the smartest possible order to invest your money step by step with zero fluff, real math, real psychology, and just enough sarcasm to keep you awake. And fair warning, some of your favorite financial rules are about to get roasted. Let's go. Step 1. Build a cash buffer. Yes, before investing, relax. Here's what most people don't realize. Investing without a cash buffer is not brave. It's reckless cosplay. Everyone wants to feel like Warren Buffett until their car breaks down, and suddenly they're selling stocks at a loss, like it's a fire sale at Walmart. So let's define this properly. What you actually need. Not 12 months, not 6 months. Start with 1 to 3 months of bare bones expenses. Rent, food, utilities, transport, that's it. Netflix does not count as an emergency. Let's say your monthly essentials are $2,000. Your first target, $4,000 to $6,000 in cash. Why? Because without this buffer, every unexpected expense turns your investments into a panic button. The psychology behind this. When people say, "I panic sold during the crash," what they really mean is, "I needed cash." This buffer buys you emotional stability, which is wildly underrated in finance. And here's the stat that should slap you awake. According to a Federal Reserve report, nearly 40% of adults can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. That means almost half the population is one flat tire away from sabotaging their future. Don't be that statistic. All right, now that you're no longer one bad Tuesday away from financial ruin, let's talk about the step everyone skips and pays for later. Step 2. Kill high-interest debt, like it owes you money. Look, I know this part isn't sexy. Nobody puts paid-off credit card debt in their Instagram bio. But mathematically, this is where you get your highest guaranteed return. Let's talk numbers. No vibes, just math. If you have a credit card charging 22% interest, paying it off is the same as earning a guaranteed 22% return. Show me a stock that does that consistently without causing heart palpitations. You can't. Even the S&P 500 averages about 10% per year over long periods, and that's before inflation and taxes. So, if you're investing while carrying high-interest debt, here's what's happening behind the scenes. You're earning 10% while losing 22%. Congratulations. You invented financial treadmill syndrome. Common objection. But investing makes me feel like I'm moving forward. Yeah, and eating salad while smoking feels healthy too. This step isn't about motivation, it's about math dominance. Payoff. Credit cards. Payday loans. Anything above approximately 7 to 8% interest, low-interest student loans and mortgages? We'll talk later. Calm down. Okay, debt is handled. You're breathing easier. Now comes the step where most people think they're being smart, but accidentally shoot themselves in the foot. Step 3. Employer match, the only free money left on earth. If your employer offers a 401k match and you're not taking it, I need you to listen very carefully. You are turning down a 100% return instantly. Let's break it down. Your employer says, "Put in 5% of your salary and we'll match it." You put in $3,000 this year. They give you $3,000. That's not investing. That's robbery in your favor. Why this step comes. Here you've got emergency buffer. No toxic debt. Now you're stable enough to lock money away without panicking. Psychological shift. This step changes how you see money. You stop thinking, "This is my paycheck," and start thinking, "This is future me's problem, and future me is rich." And here's the wild part. Most people don't max the match. Not because they can't, but because they don't understand it. Don't overthink it. Get the full match. No more, no less. Yet. Cool, you grabbed the free money. Now we're entering the part where the real wealth gap starts to form. Step 4. Fully fund your emergency fund. Yes, now. Remember that starter cash buffer? Now we upgrade it. This is where you go from financially fragile to financially unbothered. The target 3 to 6 months of expenses. If your life is stable, single income, no kids, 3 months is fine. If your income fluctuates or people depend on you, lean closer to 6. This isn't about fear. It's about optionality. Why this changes everything. With a real emergency fund, market crashes don't scare you. Job loss doesn't force bad decisions. You don't sell investments at the worst possible moment. And yes, this money earns basically nothing. That's the point. It's not an investment. It's insurance against your own bad decisions under stress. Now that you're officially hard to knock over, we can finally talk about actual investing, the kind that builds wealth instead of stress. Step 5. Maximize tax-advantaged accounts, because taxes are a silent killer. Here's what most people don't realize. Taxes matter more than investment returns for most people. You can pick the perfect stock and still lose to taxes. So the smartest investors don't start with stocks. They start with containers. The priority order, simple version: 1. 401k or equivalent, beyond the match. 2. IRA, traditional or Roth. 3. HSA, if eligible. Quick example. You invest $10,000 in a taxable account, you might lose capital gains tax, dividend taxes. In a tax-advantaged account, that money compounds untouched. Over 30 years, that difference can easily become hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is where compound interest actually gets interesting. Psychological upgrade. You stop thinking yearly and start thinking decades. That mindset shift alone puts you ahead of most adults. All right, your accounts are optimized. Now comes the part where people ruin everything by getting fancy. Step 6. Boring, broad, index investing. Yes, I said boring. Let me save you years of pain. You do not need to outsmart the market. You need to outlast it. Index funds work because they're diversified, they're low cost. They remove ego from the equation. Real talk, over 90% of professional fund managers fail to beat the market long term. These are people with Ivy League degrees, Bloomberg terminals, teams of analysts. But sure, your gut feeling from Twitter will do better. Simple portfolio. Example: total U.S. market index, international index, bond index, based on age, risk. That's it. No 17-fund Frankenstein portfolio required. Feeling underwhelmed? Good. That means it's working. Now let's talk about the stuff people want to do first, but absolutely shouldn't. Step 7. Speculation comes last, not first. Crypto, options, individual stocks, startups. These are not investing tools. They are wealth accelerators or wealth destroyers, and they only belong after the foundation is solid. The rule: no more than 5 to 10% of your net worth. Why? Because losing this money should annoy you, not derail your life. The psychological trap. People chase fast money because they feel behind. That urgency is the enemy. Slow wealth looks boring until you wake up one day and realize you're free. All right, last piece of the puzzle. And this one determines whether everything you've learned actually sticks. Step 8. Automate everything or you will sabotage yourself. Look, I need to say this clearly, and maybe a little aggressively. Your biggest financial enemy is not inflation. It's not the market. It's not your job. It's you on a random Tuesday with emotions. Here's what most people don't realize. Human brains are absolute trash at long-term consistency. You can be motivated today, disciplined tomorrow, and completely unhinged when rent, life, and vibes hit at the same time. That's why automation isn't a nice to have. It's the backbone of the entire system. Why willpower is a scam. People love saying, I just need more discipline. No, you need fewer decisions. Every manual money decision creates friction. Should I invest this month or wait? The market feels weird. I'll do it next paycheck. And suddenly, 5 years pass. Automation removes debate. And debate is where progress dies. The brutal psychology behind automation. When money leaves your account before you see it, your brain never gets a chance to panic. This is called pay yourself first, and it works because your lifestyle adjusts automatically. You don't feel the loss. You stop negotiating with yourself. Here's a wild stat that should wake you up. People who automate their investments invest 3 to 4 times more consistently than people who do it manually, even when they earn the same income. Not smarter, not richer, just automated. What exactly should be automated? No guessing. If it moves every month, automate it. That means retirement contributions, index fund investments, emergency fund savings, bill payments, even debt payments. Money should behave like gravity, constant, boring, unavoidable. Concrete example, real numbers. Let's say you automate $500 per month into investments. That's $6,000 a year. In 10 years, at approximately 10% growth, you're sitting around $95,000. FDFDSFD. But here's the key part. That happened without motivation, without timing the market, and without you feeling productive once. Most people wait to feel ready. Automated people just wake up wealthier. The emotional advantage. Nobody talks about automation gives you something incredibly rare in finance: peace. When markets crash, automated investors don't ask, should I sell? Because there's nothing to sell. The system keeps buying at discounts. This is where it gets really interesting. Market downturns actually help automated investors more than anyone else because they're buying more shares when prices are lower. Fear exits the room, math takes over. Common objection and why it's wrong. Now you might be thinking, but what if I need that money? That's why steps 1 through 4 exist. Automation doesn't come first, it comes after stability. Once your base is covered, automated investing becomes safe, boring, and wildly effective. The identity shift. This step is where you stop being someone who tries to manage money and become someone whose money manages itself. That shift alone puts you ahead of most adults. Transition, hook, back into the flow. And once your money is moving automatically, without stress, without emotion, that's when increasing your income actually starts to matter. Which brings us to the next step. Step 9. Increase your income. Before you obsess over optimization, here's what most people don't realize, and this one hurts a little. You cannot spreadsheet your way out of low income. I see people arguing online about, should I invest in Fund A or Fund B? Is 0.03% expense ratio too high? Meanwhile, they're making $42,000 a year and wondering why wealth feels impossible. Let's get brutally honest. The math nobody wants to admit. If you invest $300 per month and earn 10% annually, after 30 years you end up with roughly $680,000. Solid. Respectable. Now increase that to $600 per month. Same investments, same returns, and suddenly you're at $1.36 million. Same strategy, same market, double the outcome. This is where wealth actually accelerates. Why income growth comes after automation, notice the order. You didn't start here because if your money habits suck, more income just makes you broke at a higher level. But now? Your money is automated. Your investments are boring and efficient. Your foundation is stable. So when your income increases, wealth doesn't leak out. It compounds. The psychological shift. This step flips the mental script from how do I save more to how do I make myself more valuable. That's a completely different identity. You stop thinking like a saver and start thinking like an asset. What this looks like in real life. Negotiating your salary instead of avoiding the conversation. Learning a high-income skill instead of doom scrolling. Switching jobs strategically instead of staying comfortable. And yes, Statistically, people who switch jobs every 2 to 3 years earn 30 to 50% more over a decade than people who stay loyal and quiet. Loyalty is great for dogs. Not so much for paychecks. Transition hook. Now that your income is growing and your system is locked in, there's one final step that separates people who build wealth from people who actually keep it. Step 10. Protect the wealth or lose it all, the part everyone ignores. Here's the dark truth about money. Making money is optional. Keeping money is mandatory. And most people never make it to this step, not because they don't earn enough, but because they don't protect what they've built. The silent wealth killers. Let's talk about the stuff that quietly wipes people out. Lifestyle inflation, bad partnerships, lack of insurance, no estate planning, zero boundaries with family or friends. None of these look dangerous at first, that's why they work. Real-world example. You finally hit a $500,000 net worth. You upgrade everything. Bigger apartment, nicer car, more treat-yourself moments. Your savings rate drops, your stress rises, your freedom shrinks. Congratulations, you just turned wealth into a very expensive cage. What protection actually means? This isn't paranoia, this is maturity. It means proper health, disability, and liability insurance, legal structures if your assets grow, clear financial boundaries, a written plan instead of vibes. Here's the stat nobody talks about. 70% of people who suddenly come into money lose it within a few years. Not because they're dumb, but because they weren't prepared. The final psychological shift. This is where you stop asking, how much can I make? And start asking, how do I make this last forever? That's the difference between being rich once and being financially unshakable. Transition hook into the final recap. All right, we've built it, optimized it, grown it, and protected it. Let's lock this in before your brain forgets half of it. Updated final recap with all 10 steps. Here's the actual smartest order to invest your money. No shortcuts, no fake guru nonsense. 1. Build a starter emergency fund. 2. Destroy high-interest debt. 3. Capture the employer match. 4. Fully fund your emergency savings. 5. Maximize tax-advantaged accounts. 6. Invest boring, broad, and consistent. 7. Speculate only with fun money. 8. Automate everything. 9. Increase your income strategically. 10. Protect the wealth you've built. This system isn't flashy, it's not viral, but it works, even if you're not perfect. Stronger tease for the next video. In the next video, I'm breaking down why most people secretly self-sabotage right before they become financially successful, and how to catch it before it destroys years of progress. It's psychological, it's uncomfortable, and if you recognize yourself in it, it might change how you think forever. So if this video gave you clarity, subscribe, hit like, and actually apply one step today. Because money doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. See you in the next one.